This is going to be very interesting. Our guest coming up, Jim Sparks, lives in the Nevada desert, my old stomping grounds. He works as a debt consultant. Born in 1954, he spent his early years in Florida. Sparks studied real estate at a community college in Florida and then began working for a major condominium firm who eventually moved him to Houston in 1979. After 12 years, he started J&J Properties, which is a natural land development company, which mostly operated in North Carolina. Sparks was now able to use his own philosophy and he actually would not allow removing more trees than necessary from each lot. So I guess he's ecologically sensitive. At 34 years old, Sparks was happily married and financially successful when his experiences with otherworldly beings began. Life as he knew it began to unravel with these unexplained incidents. Now, 18 years later, Sparks has moved from resistor to cooperator and is sharing his experiences with others, tonight with you. A conservationist at heart, Sparks encourages others to support their work being done by the Nature Conservancy to help save critical acreage in the Atlantic forest region of South America. In a moment, a very unusual individual is going to take us in detail through his experiences. Coming up, Jim Sparks. As promised, Jim Sparks. Jim, welcome to Coast AM.
Hey, it's great to be here, Art. Thanks.
You're very welcome. Thank you. I wonder why somebody of your stature, somebody who has been very financially successful, even if you had all of these experiences, which I don't doubt that you've had in such great detail, we're going to hear so much tonight, would have the cojones to come on a national radio program and talk about it.
Well, it's been an evolving situation. In the beginning years, well, I'm straightforward, logical, down to earth, honest, and in the early years, meaning starting in '88, these experiences were abrupt and in my face and without warning, just like overnight, and particularly the first 6 years, I had nothing but loathing and hate. And
so you did not talk publicly then about this?
No, I didn't even know things like this existed. I wasn't really tuned into any of the abduction experiences of other people. It wasn't me. Now, sure, I felt like perhaps there were visitors from other planets, because considering the size of the cosmos and how many stars are out there and planets rotating around them, that it was possible something can come by. But the visits we get and these extraterrestrials and the abductions of this magnitude and involving tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, no, I didn't have any clue anything like that was around.
Okay. How old are you now, Jim?
52.
52. These experiences began when you were how old?
34. 18 years ago. 18 years ago, almost to the month, actually, as we speak.
Okay, then let's go back, and let's go back to the very beginning. The first time, perhaps, if you recall, that it happened to you.
Well, in the beginning, it was around mid-'88, and my experiences were not too unlike what most abductees talk about, which were dreamlike. But with me, it started that way, and it was a reoccurring dream, and it was the same one around mid-'88 that went on. It happened the same way over and over again. I would be sleeping. Something would wake me up, but as far as I was concerned, this was a dream. Something or some things would be waking me up, walking me from my bedroom down the hallway into the guest room, and we had at the time a floor-level window in the guest room, and they would walk me right through it. We'd go across the lawn into the woods, and then I had no memory at that time of what went on in the woods. And then in this so-called dream, I would be walked back through the window and back into the bedroom and put back in bed. This went on for a few months, and then one evening...
Jim, you thought you were having dreams. You thought, at this point, you thought they were dreams, right?
Just dreams, and didn't think much more of it, except that I kept having the same one over and over again, which was not normal for me. Yeah, this is odd, right?
Yeah.
And but the way it progressed was one night it jumped from one extreme to the other. So there was a night where it was extreme, meaning that I became, as these things came and woke me up, I found myself standing, and I was dead awake conscious, and then I would like black out for a second, then I'd be conscious for a second, but just as conscious as you and I are talking, and it was very vivid, and it was more real than it was a dream to me. Walking down the hallway, I could feel my feet on the carpet. I could see the as we went into the guest bedroom and walked through the window. It was like I blacked out just as we came to the window. Then I came conscious again as we walked through it, and I was in the yard, and I felt the cold grass on my feet. But what proved to me something was really going on is when we had came back through the window after the experience in the woods, which at the time I had no idea what was going on. I had no memory of that. But coming back through, when I walked through the lawn or coming back, we had these bushes in our yard, and they had these thousands of little flowers on them. I think they're called honeysuckle flowers, and they would stick to your feet.
Right.
And coming through the window and going back into the bedroom, when I woke up the next morning, I said, man, this thing was just like it really happened. And so now I'm awake. I get up. This is normal. I went into the guest bedroom, and what I saw really astounded me, scared me, actually, because I could see my footprints in the lawn, and I could see half of my heel was in the lawn, and then the toes were embedded in the carpet, as if the window wasn't there, and the honeysuckle flowers were in the footprints in the carpet in my guest bedroom. I could see them with the honeysuckle flowers embedded in the carpet as I walked through the bedroom back into the hallway.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, and it was impossible. And I said, how can this be possible? There's a window here, and it had drapes, it had blinds, it had all of that. So that was like the first shock of something is really happening here that I couldn't explain.
Well, I was going to ask how you separate the dream from the chaff, and you sure just told me. At that point, I would think that a deep fear would sort of start to set in when you realize that, God, these weren't dreams. This is really happening.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. So it's real, and it shook me up. It kept me from operating properly during the day, but I was functioning normally, but I was still keeping it to myself. So at that point, which I didn't mention, I didn't mention anything to my wife. I didn't say anything to anybody. I just took the vacuum cleaner and got every little leaf, every little blade of grass, all the honeysuckle flowers, and said, the next time this happens, I'm going to come into this room and see. I now know that they were progressively adapting me to what was about to happen, which was extreme, which really changed. That's called being pulled, what I call being pulled the easy way. Whenever a craft is on the ground or landed, they use a technology to escort you to the craft by walking you to it, but you can walk through solid objects. They create some kind of field. It's technology, and you walk through walls and things of that nature. But again, I had that experience, and I went into that room, and again, then I could see the footprints, and I could see the honeysuckle flowers. But what really shook me up and really changed my life, messed it up for a solid 18 months to 6 years, which I'll get into, which was real. It was traumatizing. It was horror-filled. The MO at that time was isolation, fear, confusion. I felt like I had been abducted into a war that I didn't even know existed. I called it like an alien boot camp, and I can get into that. And all that stuff was terrible the first 6 years. And then as